Good morning, you guys. It's been a while since you've seen my face, so wanted to apologize for kind of skipping out, but it's been a interesting, I guess 6 weeks or so. Well, 6 months. But I want to talk today a little bit about self-sabotaging. It's just a lot of things have weighed on my mind in the past 6 weeks. Primarily, the day that I got Zach's death certificates, I spiraled out of control and overdid some things, and it just really put me in a deep place. And I've spent the last 6 weeks really thinking about, where I was and the road I was going on, and where this could end up big picture for me. So I've been trying to pull the reins in and self-reflecting, and I just have kind of gone in my own little hole. But I needed to, and people just need to do that sometimes. But today, as I'm driving to work, I'm just reflecting on, my actions and actions of other people that I've known during my life, and some things that have been going on around me lately. And it's just really got me thinking about what the hell we do to ourselves sometimes and why we do it. Why does it take us getting and hitting rock bottom to change the things in our lives? And even hitting a rock bottom, sometimes we go off the deep end and, we're good for a little while, and then we put ourselves right back in that situation. I think about my son and his addictions, and I mean, he used heroin, and I knew, and he had, come clean about that. He had been open about that towards the end, and, he had gotten clean. And when Mac Miller died, Zach had some text messages that he had sent to his friend Angelica, saying that, I'm so glad I got clean. Fentanyl is a killer. And Zach was so upset about losing Mac Miller, and how, he's so glad he got clean because he didn't want to die. He didn't want to die of a fentanyl overdose, and how the fentanyl was, mixed in these drugs now, and how, he just wasn't going to go down that road. And then, come to find out 6 months later, when he, did use again, that fentanyl was what ended up killing him. And why knowing that, and knowing what you were risking, why would you do that? And why, as a person in a marriage that's in a marriage, in a relatively loving relationship and struggling with addiction, why do you have to let yourself get to a point where you lose everything? Your family, your career, your everything, before you turn your life around? Why is it a woman, that is struggling with self-esteem, goes through tons and tons of relationships, and puts her family and kids through, her own self-esteem issues and her bad decisions, and gets to a place where she loses everything or loses her child before she turns her life around? Why do we do that? Why do we self-sabotage? And what is it in us that we don't love ourselves enough to fix it while things are in a good place? Why can't we see the good things that are around us and fix things before we lose everything? I don't get it. And I've been asking myself this because I'm guilty. I mean, I have spent an adult lifetime of self-sabotaging and not realizing my self-worth. And my son probably not realizing his self-worth, because it's so sad to me that after losing him, the amount of people that have come forward to me, his friends and people that I never even knew, and how Zach impacted their lives. And it's so sad to me that he's missing that. He's missing knowing that. Don't be that person. Don't be that person that you wait till it's too late, till you've lost everything. I mean, I've spent an entire adulthood of rebuilding over and over again, and it becomes exhausting, and it takes what is a good person, and I mean, in some ways, yeah, it's molded me to appreciate and treat people better, but why did it take stripping down to appreciate that? And the only thing that I can, I guess, make sense of it all is, I mean, it's a lot of things, but it just roots in self-esteem. And then where does that come back to? Does that just go back to, your childhood and the way you were raised, or is it a traumatic event that happened? I mean, I guess it's a culmination of things. But, as parents, these are the things that, in hindsight, you can't go back and fix the shit you did to your kids years later. You got to get in the trenches and do it now. So if you're on a trajectory of, situations with your kids, that you got to look at the long-term effects and the damage that you're doing. And if, you're a mom or a dad that's maybe not consistently in your kids' lives, fast forward 20 years to the effects that that's going to have on them. If you're an addict, or an alcoholic and struggling in your addictions, and I get how difficult it is, but you got to fast forward to the realities of, you could die, or you could kill someone else. And if you die, you're not here. So you're not seeing the residual effects that it has on everybody else. But let me tell you from firsthand experience, the effects, and I'm shaking, guys, I'm sorry. I'm emotional. Big surprise. But the effects that my son's death has had on my family, I mean, Zach, I don't want to say, look at what you've done, because I don't want to blame you like that. But the effects of your death, Jake lost his job because he couldn't cope. I've struggled with my own job because I can't cope. The desire to use and be out of my mind. I know that that's not what you've wanted for us, and everybody tells me, he wants happiness for you, and I know that, and we're working on that. And I am getting into a more solid place. I mean, maybe right now it doesn't look like it, but I haven't slept. But why is it you've got to get yourself to a point where you're dead and you allow the residuals to hit your family? What hit me really hard this week was a friend of mine lost her cousin to a heroin overdose. And seeing how torn up she is just brought back this, roller coaster of emotion for me. And thinking about this young man who was Zach's same age. He was 29 when he overdosed, which was the same age Zach was. And then finding out that same day that he was leaving behind, a girlfriend who was pregnant. And now, he's left his kids and left an unborn child and all these things that are residuals, and he's not going to be there for just because of a bad decision. We have to take ownership for ourselves, you guys. We have to really think about the shit we do day in and day out, because it's affecting everybody. I mean, I spoke at Zach's service about our life decisions and the trickle effect. And I strongly believe in that. And I'm guilty. You know, my decisions I made 6 weeks ago affected my family, affected my friends. And it's affected me. And it's changed me. And it's made me withdraw from the world some, but reflect. And it's just a self-analysis. So today, maybe stop, look at yourself, look at the way you're raising your kids, look at the way you're acting in your work, look at your usage and what you're doing. And maybe before you pick up a beer today, or before you snort a line of blow, or shoot that heroin, or sell some drugs to somebody, or, you know, disregard your kids so you can go out with your friends on a Friday night. I don't know. Just think about the long-term effects of what you're doing, because what you do, every decision you make every day, it makes a difference to the outcome of your life and the lives around you. So own that shit. Anyway, I hope I don't sound preachy sometimes, but I don't mean to, and I hope that that's not how I come across, because I've lived through this. Learn from my mistakes, because I've made plenty, enough for everybody. So, you know, if you're screwing up, message me, because chances are I've done it. So anyway, happy Friday. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'm going to head to work. Have a good day, guys. Bye.